Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, I think we're good. Okay, so this is the MXL 770 microphone. This is a cardioid pattern microphone. It is a condenser microphone, and what that basically means is the cardioid pattern is kind of an orb in front of the microphone, so most of the sound is being picked up from the front, and there's not as much sound being picked up from the sides and the rear. I'll just pop up a little diagram so you can get a quick look at that. The fact that it is a condenser microphone means that in this particular case, there is an XLR cable connected to it, and this is running into a mixer. So as a condenser microphone, this needs a considerable amount of power. So this actually has 48 volts of phantom power running into it right now from my mixer. So if you get a microphone like this, don't think you can just pick up an XLR to 3.5 millimeter adapter and just plug it right into something. No, you're actually going to need 48 volts of phantom power, so plug it into a preamp, or in my case, plug it into a mixer. The mixer that I am actually using with this microphone is a Behringer Xenix Q802 USB. Is this mixer required for this microphone? No. But I like it, and I like the way it makes my microphone sound. This is not the raw sound of the microphone. I'll play that in just a moment. This is what the microphone sounds like raw. No compression, no equalization, just the microphone itself. I'm going to talk into it for just a couple more seconds just so you can get a general sound profile, but this is pretty much what you get. Because I'm not the best at remembering these kind of specs, I've got it right in front of me. So this microphone has a frequency response of 30 Hz to 20 kilohertz, which is pretty reasonable. It's a pretty quiet mic on top of that. I think when I am being completely quiet, we're looking at around negative 40, negative 50 decibels. You'll probably hear some traffic in the background. You might hear my computer fan going, so it might not be the best example in terms of like a soundproof setting, but in terms of, you know, just a real world use case for somebody sitting at their computer, that might give you a general idea. And the way I've got it mixed up right now, I don't really go much past negative 12, negative 9 decibels, and I'm rarely peaking at 0, which is pretty comfortable. A lot of that has to do with the compressor and the settings that I have right now, but this microphone, very wide diaphragm, so just something to keep in mind if you are being loud and being close to it. You might get that, you might want that nice proximity effect when you get very close to the microphone, so you get that nice deep roaring boom. You don't want to be too loud, too aggressive, especially with your plosives and things of that nature. Another thing about this microphone is that it has 2 switches, one of them allowing you to turn on a high-pass filter, and the high-pass filter actually allows more high tones to go through, and it bucks some of the lower tones. So if you have a voice that's too deep, or if you have some audible hum in the background that you might want to get out, you can turn that on. I personally don't like the sound of it. I'm going to flip that switch real quick so you can get an idea. Alright, so this is me talking into the microphone with the high-pass filter turned on, and as you can tell, my voice sounds a little tinnier than it did earlier, and for my particular voice, I don't like this. And for the most part, when microphones have a feature like this, I would say some of the higher-end microphones, yeah, you might get some use out of something like this, but for this microphone, I don't really care for the tone. I think it hampers a lot of its qualities. So we're going to go ahead and turn that back off. All right, and now we are back to normal. The other switch, which I will not switch, is the negative 10 decibel switch. The reason I'm not going to do that is because it's switched on right now. So all that basically does is it lowers the bass volume of this microphone. That's it. So if the microphone is too loud when you're up close to it, or if you need an extra boost when you have it low, you can just alternate between those two freely. The reason I have it turned on is because I like to have a little more range of motion on my mixer, so when I have it on negative 10, I can be a little more free to adjust my knobs without having to fine-tune them quite as much. So the 2 switches on the microphone, great. Aside from any other goodies with this microphone, this one actually came with a very sturdy shock mount. This thing is all metal, and it has these little rubberized fabric strings, these loops, that suspend it, and for the most part, it does a good job of dampening any rumbles on the desk. Of course, you're going to hear them, but you're not going to feel them as you would like I just deliberately did to my microphone. Alright, so some things I really enjoy about this microphone. First is the sound profile. Now, I don't have the deepest voice in the world. I would say I'm more of a natural tenor, but at the same time, my voice has kind of a sharpness to it, a nasally quality, and I think this microphone does a good job of maybe not masking those imperfections, but doing a good job of making them less noticeable, right? So between that and being plugged into my mixer, as you can hear, I think I've got a pretty good sound. It's kind of cranked up a little bit on the low end. The mids are nice and balanced because I've got plenty of those, and it's got a little bit of extra high just for the sharpness. Hopefully it doesn't make the S's sound too grating or anything like that. But I'm always tweaking this. But I think I have a pretty good balance right now for things like doing a podcast or doing a live stream or even doing a YouTube video like I'm doing right now. I think this is a nice, set it and forget it setting. And in terms of all of those aspects, all of those things that you can do with this microphone, I think this is a very versatile microphone. So one thing you might notice about this microphone is that I have a pop filter attached to it. All right, and a pop filter in this case is wrapping around the microphone, and it has a little screen in front of it. I believe it has fabric, metal, and then kind of a mesh behind it, a little foam mesh. And what that is supposed to do is dampen the plosives that you hear in this microphone. So when I say like P's and T's and S's and F's to a lesser extent, it's going to take the air and then just disperse it before it hits the actual diaphragm inside of the microphone, and that's going to make my my plosives pop a lot less. So that's something to consider when you get this microphone. See, I kind of went with form over function just because of what I previously mentioned, which is me wanting to move this microphone to whatever setting I have. So whether I'm sitting like this, whether I'm sitting straight up, whether I'm doing YouTube streaming, etc., things that I've already mentioned, this is a nice form factor, since it's so tightly wrapped around my microphone, for me to just take the microphone wherever I need at my desk. That being said, the fact that you might hear some plosives getting through because this is so close to the microphone, don't let that discourage you. Don't let that make you think that this microphone is bad about plosives. If you have a more traditional pop filter a few inches away from the microphone, like one of those circular ones, this is going to do just fine. So if you have this microphone running through an even decent mixer like the one I have, and this isn't even the best kind of mixer you can get, this is a very affordable price versus performance ratio that we're talking here for this Xenix mixer that I have. So the good thing about running it through this mixer is that it has a British EQ, so I have control of my highs, my mediums, and my lows, and it also has a compressor. So that being said, if you can control each individual frequency of this microphone and have a decent compressor, I think this is a wonderful value that you can add to your arsenal for whatever you want to do, whether it be podcasts, whether it be streaming, whether it be doing YouTube videos, whether it be recording music, whatever you want to do. For this price point, I think it's really hard to beat the value of this microphone. I just wanted to demonstrate that this is a good microphone for anything. And for me, it's got a lot of versatility. I've got it plugged into this microphone arm right now. I got this nice beefy grip so I can just kind of take it wherever I want, no matter how I'm sitting at my desk. I've got view of my CRT television for my old games. I've got my monitors right here, so I can just kind of change my position and just take it wherever I need. This is pretty much my everyday microphone. This is my main driver. This is the best sounding microphone that I have right next to my Blue Yeti, which is a nice microphone with its own limitations, and perhaps I'll review that soon as well. But that's not to discourage you from buying this microphone, because the thing about this microphone is price to performance ratio. I haven't mentioned it yet, but this microphone can be picked up for roughly $70 on Amazon. I think I've had this microphone for about 3 years or so, and I got it for anywhere between $85 and $90, which, isn't a big difference between those two numbers. But the fact that, it's pushing $100 right there, I thought that was an amazing deal when I bought it. And the fact that it's $70 now, even better. Because, in my opinion, it rivals some $120, $150 microphones. Obviously, if you buy some, top-tier microphones in that price range, you might get to the point where they're pushing into the $300, $400 comparative sound category. But if you're looking for a budget microphone under $100 that still sounds like a non-budget microphone, in my opinion, you cannot go wrong with the MXL 770. So, in conclusion, I would say that this microphone is absolutely worth the money. For $70, you have the choice between something like a Blue Yeti or a microphone like this, which is designed from the ground up to be plugged into a nice mixer. Now, a Blue Yeti, even the USB one, actually can be plugged into a physical analog mixer if you use the headphone out and monitor the microphone through that. But it's kind of a messy workaround, even though you can get some good quality results from it. So if you already have a Blue Yeti and you want to consider plugging it into a mixer, then I would recommend sticking with what you've got. But at the same time, if you want a nice microphone that is a good stepping stone into the world of XLR, into the world of mixers, into the world of better sounding audio in general, I don't think you can go much better than this for the price. So if you like the way this microphone sounds, great, go pick it up. If you just wanted to watch this video to hear the sound of my voice, thanks, I appreciate that. This isn't endorsed by MXL, this is just my personal opinion of a microphone I've been using for a long time, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. So, I appreciate you watching. If you liked the video, cool. If you didn't, awesome. I'll catch you guys later.